Good morning and welcome to the virtual Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Our minister, Pat Job, will be our speaker today. Our fellowship walks diverse paths to find meaning and purpose, but we are united by our belief in the inherent worth and dignity of every being, and by the responsibility to express our faith through acts of justice and compassion. Unfortunately, COVID cases in our area are on the rise again. For the safety of all, we have returned to our virtual service. If you haven't had a chance to get your shots, please do so, as we are all in this together. I look forward to the time when our country has gotten a hold of this deadly virus and we can again meet together. We're looking forward to going back to our new home at the Friends Meeting House in Davidson on 3 p.m. on Sundays. Our fellowship has experienced great growth in the last year and a half. We have a new minister, Reverend Pat Job, who you will hear from later. Our active spiritual exploration program for kids is led by Autumn Weathers. She provides a virtual weekly program for our kids and their friends. And we have an occasional guest speaker. My name is Marjorie Flowers. I have been a member of this fellowship since 2013. When we gather together as a community, we light a chalice and share a thought about what it means to do so. Today's chalice lighting words are, in search for truth, may we be just. In search for justice, may we be loving. And in loving, may we find peace. And now Mike will take us with his music into a time of worship and contemplation. Right after that, Reverend Pat will talk to us. The intriguing title of his sermon is Fooling the Universe One More Time. I love that title. I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say.
Our opening words come from Mel Brooks, who said, "Humor is just one more defense against the universe." And from Scott Peck, the best-selling writer and psychiatrist, who said, "Until you value yourself, you will not value your time. And until you value your time, you will not do anything with it." In June, I was crossing the bridge from Hilton Head Island back to the mainland, and I was on the phone with my oldest son, who is an atheist and hilariously funny and a little bit of a skeptic. He asked me what I was doing, and I told him I was on my way to deliver another sermon to a group of Unitarian Universalists. He laughed and said, "You fooled the universe one more time." Those of us who have grown children know that they can be perfect foils for all our assumptions and beliefs and ways of being in the world. But I have had to cogitate on that idea of fooling the universe deeply and with a certain playfulness. Also, with the hesitancy that comes over any honest person when we weigh the possibility of being wrong. You will often hear me speak of my beloved Meg Barnhouse, senior pastor at the great big old UU in Austin, Texas. When I met Regina and Larry's granddaughter, Rachel, I begged her to visit Meg's meeting house because there are few experiences one can have in a worship service that match listening to Meg Barnhouse. She and I performed Radio Free Bubba pieces on WNCW and a few South Carolina public radio stations for 17 years. A feature that produced several books and at least 2 collections of recorded spoken word on CD. She once told me my Radio Free Bubba commentaries would be a little stronger if occasionally they included the words, "I could be wrong." Fooling the universe brought me back to that place. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about lots of things. I know I've been wrong about life after death at least a time or two because I have believed different things at different times. And some of those things have canceled each other out. I've certainly been wrong about marriage, as I'm twice divorced, and on another occasion or two have danced with some ladies who had no desire to walk down the aisle. When my brother Bill was here for our first service at this meeting house, the one where we met in Davidson, someone asked him if I was sitting with my life partner. When he said no, the questioner said, "I don't believe she exists." Now, actually, Gabriel does exist and is pure delight, but has little heart and soul for the life of a minister's wife. Politics is another area where fooling the universe, or maybe having the universe fool me, has proved heartbreaking and foolhardy. I was raised by Roosevelt Democrats who believed in mild forms of socialism and dreamed a day when poor people would have a decent safety net and rich people would pay their fair share in taxes. Now I know about powerful and yet timid Democrats who allowed Donald Trump to drag our national flag through the barnyard waste and barely lifted a finger to stop it. Until the third year of his term, and then they impeached him on only 1 or 2 infractions and failed to convict him of anything. The second attempt at impeachment failed to inoculate us against his running again in 2024. I'm now more and more agreement with my beloved Gabriel that they are all crooks. I just happen to like the Democrat crooks more than I like the Republican crooks. My overall optimism and ebullient love of life has been key to my success as a minister. But maybe my son is right. It's fooling tomfoolery that if it were ever exposed, my friends, like all of you, would rush away or climb into a hot air balloon like Dorothy Gale and head back to Kansas. There's no place like home, Annie. There's no place like home. Meg Barnhouse asked me occasionally to say, "I might be wrong." And that haunted me into a radio interview I heard with a Time magazine columnist. His interviewer asked him how he judges the quality of other columnists. He said he watches to read them say occasionally, "I could be wrong." It's hard to imagine Donald Trump or any of his minions who rush like lemmings to the sea saying, "I could be wrong." George W. Bush was asked during a news conference, "What's the biggest mistake you made as president?" He said, "Calling on you at a news conference." Admitting to maybe being wrong is a delicate maneuver. Steve Brown, who's a great radio preacher, said people listen to ministers and they're listening to hear whether their minister believes what she or he is saying. Do you actually believe what you're saying? Well, I can tell you without fear of contradiction, I could be wrong. I believe that as deeply as anything I believe I am right about. But you already know how this is going to end. I believe I am very, very right about some things. I believe in love and have seen it cover a multitude of sins. I know for certain that no matter how people have hurt each other, there is room for reconciliation and love. I've seen it happen too many times. It may be that some hurts will not allow the restoration of broken trust, but love can create forgiveness and mutual respect as people go their separate ways. It's important. Love believes all things, hopes all things. Love is a transcending reality which holds everything else together. Whatever ultimate force is in control is loving and knitting things into each other in ways that are both mysterious and deeply touching. So many times people have said love is not a feeling, but action, intention. I have to contend with the firmest conviction that it is both. I feel great love for those closest to me, but I also do what I can to support them emotionally, financially, and in all I do and say and think and feel. It is hard to imagine the actions without the emotions, or the emotions without the actions. But why is all this fooling the universe? I had to look up entropy to make this point, but there it was. Entropy has at least 6 different definitions, but at least one is about how the universe is winding down and will eventually cool to the point no life can survive. That brings to mind an old BC cartoon that I love very much. 2 cavemen are relaxing on either side of a rock, stretched out their heads against the rock. The first speaker says, "In a billion years, the sun will explode and kill us all." The other guy leaps to his feet and says, "What?" The first guy says, "In a billion years, the sun will explode and kill us all." The second guy said, "Oh my goodness, I thought you said a million years." As absurd and delightful as that cartoon is, I think my son's point is that the universe is doing whatever it pleases, regardless of my happy-go-lucky, love is ultimate style of preaching. Dancing, playing the guitar. I may wave and prance to my heart's content, but the disasters of life and the cooling of the universe are going to rock on for generations. And eventually, our best laid plans will have come to nothing. They may even gang after glee, as Robert Burns predicted they would in that famous poem about the best laid plans of mice and men. I honestly don't know for sure, but I will keep on keeping on. Mine is not a particularly intellectual path, although I do grab whatever ammo I can from great thinkers and writers and sacred texts. I'm apt to occasionally point at Jesus, saying God is love, and ask, isn't that enough? What else do you need? An authority figure respected by, or at least receiving lip service from billions around the world, has affirmed what I believe. Whatever, however, the universe works itself out, love is in charge. Love is ultimate. Loving kindness, charity, friendship, deep connection, a passion for social justice and food and medicine and education, and clean fun for all, because in the words of our first principle, we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of all. What else do you need? What else do you need? Are you willing to sacrifice your one wild and precious life on the altar of anything else? Can you think of a better way to cruise the waters of this existence? Would pushing up the daisies of your own ego suit you better? What about accumulated wealth? Is that a good altar? What about safety or a sense of a secure future? My. I don't know about you, but I think of nothing better than love to live my life for. My love may be fooling the universe into a false sense of meaning and passion that is even better than entropy. My love may be saying to entropy, you cannot have my heart, even though entropy may yet win the day. But if it takes 1 billion years to do it, and listen very carefully here, if it takes 1 billion years to do it, I will have gotten in and out without it laying a finger on me. Ah, there you go. I fooled the universe one more time. So let me overstate what I am trying to say here, and maybe doing a haphazard job. None of us is going to ultimately fool the universe or defeat entropy. Nobody gets to do that. Entropy has us in a death grip. The universe is going to cool to a point no life can survive. Not by next Tuesday, but sooner or later we are doomed. So the question becomes, what are we going to do with what Mary Oliver called this one wild and precious life? Are we going to be like the caveman in the BC comic and react with fear and dismay that death may come upon us quickly, even as quickly as 1 million years? Or are we going to fritter away precious and wild moments when we could be loving and kind and generous, and instead choose to be hateful and unkind and stingy? These are not easy choices. We know people who are hateful and unkind and stingy, and all that makes perfect sense to them because they are gripping this one wild and precious life as if a good tight grip might not allow them to cling to all that is ripe and tasty and pleasurable here among brief, shining moments. Ultimately, the physical world turns out to be a death trap, and there is no escaping entropy and death itself. But up until that ultimate deep freezing death point, do we not have the opportunity to dance and sing and give and care and be the kinds of people we'd like to read about in the newspaper? Truly, do we not have some very good and enjoyable and inspiring choices? Thank you all so much for being here. I'm sorry we're back meeting virtually, but soon we'll be able to be back together again. Our closing words come from Robert Frost. I took the road less traveled, and that made all the difference.
Greetings, everyone. Clear winds blow down this road ahead, but the path is wearing thin. Twisted branches, they block the sky, and the true light won't come in. Did they stop you in your tracks, my friend? Hang your hopes on a limb? Did they take your part, forsake your heart? Now the true light won't come in. But you know they say there's just one way, but it's a long way out if you're looking to roam. Leave your fears behind and those tears that blind. May your true light shine again. Let your true light shine. shine again. For the years have passed since we were young. Fields were flush in the spring. Whoa, water flowed down the hills of gold, and the bells of love would ring. Now the road, it turns and divides, but it's you, only you, who decides. Let the lies grow cold, may your love unfold, let your true light shine again. Hey, you know it's true, it's up to you, but it's a long way out if you're chasing the wind. Leave your fears behind and the tears that blind, may your true light shine again. Let your true light shine again. May your true light shine again. Take care.
Thank you, Reverend Pat, for your life lesson and good stories. And Mike, thanks for catching the spirit of Reverend Pat's message with your music. And now for a few announcements. At 4:30 today, we will be hosting the UU Justice Ministry of North Carolina, and they will be discussing the redistricting. We will learn the basics of what it means to each of us and how we can effectively provide public comments both before and after the maps are disclosed. The Zoom link for this important event is in the newsletter and on our website. If you are a visitor, welcome. I'm so glad you came to join us today. If you like what you've heard so far and would like to stay connected with our congregation, please reach out to Linda, our membership chair. Her information is below on the screen. She will be happy to send you our weekly newsletter so that you can keep in contact with our many activities. We encourage members to continue reaching out to one another virtually whenever possible. Make regular dates, or just pick up the phone and call one another. It's important in these trying times for us to stay connected and sustain the deep bonds our community has formed. Our movie group will be seeing the documentary Show Me the Father at Birkdale Village this Tuesday at 1:25. Our book club is reading Cast, and we will meet virtually on Wednesday the 15th at 7:30 to talk about this very interesting and important book. It's kind of eye-opening. Please check the newsletter for more information and opportunities. I'd like to extinguish the chalice with these words. The blessings of truth be upon us, the power of love direct and sustain us, and may the peace of community preserve our going and coming from this time forth until we meet again. Bye now. Stay safe.